we got Cove Pure. You may have seen this. Utah and Florida recently banned fluoride in their drinking water. Now ask yourself, why are they doing a massive U-turn on a chemical that's been pumped into our water for 80 years? Maybe it's because they finally realized it's authoritarian. You need the freedom to choose pure water. That's why you should check out Cove Pure, a countertop water purifier certified to remove up to 99.9% of impurities. That includes fluoride. Yes, but also all the other garbage, PFAs, fertilizer runoff, pharmaceuticals, you name it. Wow, that's actually insanely impressive. The taste is a game changer too, guys. This is what water's supposed to taste like: pure, clean, no aftertaste. You'll want more, and it's so easy. No drilling, no plumbers. Just fill it, plug it in. The best part is you can choose any temperature, hot or cold, with one tap. If you like fluoride, fine. Use toothpaste, use mouthwash, but don't wait for the government to sort out pure water. Do it yourself. Head over to covepure.com/Tim, and for a limited time, get $200 off. That's COVEPURE.com/Tim. And I will add to this too. We're on well water, so we don't have fluoride in our water, and we use glass bottles for our refillables. To be fair, though, we do offer up plastic for those that don't really care. So I take this very seriously. This is legit. And Luke Rudkowski watching right now is just banging his head on the table being like, yes! Super awesome, Cove Pure. Check it out. For Mediaite, the White House press secretary demands an investigation into the bad escalator that stymied Trump at the UN. I actually think this was a shot across the bow at Trump. I don't think this was a prank. I think this was a statement that they will kill him. And let's you watch. As Trump is walking to the escalator, they turn it off right when they get on it. And Melania almost falls over. And then Trump and everyone look around. They're frozen for it looks about 7 seconds before Trump then begins to walk up the stairs. This is actually causing a huge outcry for a few reasons. One, it is being viewed, we have this story from the Times of London. To mark Trump's arrival, UN staff members have joked they may turn off the escalators and elevators and simply tell them they ran out of money, so he has to walk up the stairs. This was previously reported that they would do it. The first thing people are saying is they intended to insult Trump in a way that actually could have injured him and his wife. And so there should be criminal charges here. I actually think it's a little bit more than that. This is called freezing the target. Donald Trump is moving through an area and they stop him dead in his tracks, creating an opening for an attack on him. There are a lot of people freaking out that this violated Secret Service protocol because they immediately should have covered him when you get an anomalous action like this, and they didn't.
Just stop funding the UN and kick him out of New York.
Yeah, the Jets should be playing there.
Right. Well, I don't know if there's enough room.
That may be even more insulting to the American people than the UN would be having the Jets play in such fantastic real estate. No, yeah, this is totally
the Jets in New Jersey.
Definitely, dude, the way the UN operates, it's so third world. It's like embarrassing every time Trump has to show up to these places. So yeah, this is not surprising. This is some degree of intentionality here.
Before they built the UN, it was meatpacking warehouses and slaughterhouses.
Yeah.
Look what they did to his teleprompter thing as well. I think that malfunctioned or didn't work. Maybe that was another kind of thing to try and trip him up during his speech. I mean, the UN was set up really by the Americans after the Second World War to kind of dominate global politics. This was really an American enterprise, American liberal enterprise, I should say. This kind of the original neocons and the hawks of the, in the 1950s, 1940s. This was FDR's dream. This was Truman's dream. This was like a Democrat dream to have a kind of united world. This was globalism. This was, a global government under the auspices of American liberal democracy and American rule. And now with Trump in charge, obviously he's kind of a complete contrast to the original aim of the UN. He's a nationalist. He's not a globalist. So suddenly you've got an American president, the president of the most powerful country at the UN, the most powerful country in the world, who goes against their globalist agenda, goes against their globalist values, is a nationalist, explicitly says, I'm going to put America first. And so they have to humiliate him. Maybe they even have to put him in danger, as we saw today. And I think for Trump and for America, you should be angry about this. This is like an institution that's really, as I said, set up by the American government, and they are insulting you. They're insulting your country to your face.
Well, yeah, it's just set up as an institution to allow, effectively the third world and these, these really jokes of countries to more have this moral posturing against the United States. That's all it is. Like the Human Rights Council, and it's they're throwing North Korea's on here and China and Iran. This is fantastic. And it's the entire thing is just bureaucratic chest beating. Doesn't get anything done. And then, like you're saying, I mean, from the auspices, just like this globalist wet dream. And it's just like enough. That's why seeing Trump there is so bizarre, because it's just, this is opposites. This is America versus like third world led globalism. Even nothing in the UN works. Even the peacekeepers is like 80%, I think.
It's always the United States. The United States.
No, the peacekeepers is like one of the most incompetent fighting forces on planet Earth. So it's like even like the one mechanism that you would expect the UN to be able to do properly, they can't even do that. They're like having to drag kids out of like Indian villages to give them gigs in the peacekeeping force. Like, it's a total joke.
Just look at a contrast between what Trump's speech was and Macron's, because Macron was talking about France recognizing Palestine as a state. And Trump today said about the Europeans, I love Europe, I want you to do well, but mass migration and your energy policies are killing you. Trump was just in the UK last week, and they had a quite good state visit between our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and Trump, where they sort of were on quite good terms. But now Trump is going completely opposite. You know, now that he's in New York, he's saying Sadiq Khan is a crazy guy, crazy mayor of London, again, blasting Europe because of our failed mass migration policy in particular. It is so refreshing to see an American president say, first of all, that they love Europe and they love, Britain. Trump is a huge Anglophile, and he doesn't want to see us be destroyed by mass migration. Unlike Keir Starmer, I have to say, and a lot of the conservative leaders of Britain who've been flooding the country with millions of migrants over the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Your conservatives are one step to the right of leftists.
It's incredible that the Conservative Party, for 14 years in Britain, opened the floodgates, despite promising to do the exact opposite, to millions and millions of migrants from the third world, from places like Nigeria, India, Pakistan, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Bangladesh. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions, from each of those countries coming in a very, very short period. We talked about Boris Johnson earlier. There's a huge amount of discourse in Britain at the moment about the so-called Boris wave of migrants. This is like the 4 million migrants who came in under Boris Johnson's premiership when he was Prime Minister, again, almost entirely from the third world. And Trump is clearly upset about this, as he should be. He's an Anglophile. He loves England. He loves Britain. And he sees this country choosing a very, very dark path.
Yeah.
Nigel Farage actually came out, the leader of the Reform Party. This is the kind of right-wing populist party in Britain. He came out saying that he's not going to give the Boris waivers, these kind of migrants, what's called indefinite leave to remain, which means they will be able to remain in the country basically for the rest of their lives and be put on the path to citizenship and potentially have welfare and stuff like that. And this is going to save the country hundreds of billions of pounds. And it's quite interesting to see the radicalization. I think Nigel Farage is looking at Trump and sort of taking lessons from his political rhetoric and what he's doing on the southern border, what he's doing with the mass deportations, and adopting that language and those policies to the context of Britain. So what Trump says on the world stage, Americans have to remember this, because maybe you're not thinking so much about Europe or other countries. What Trump says actually matters.
Yeah.
It has a huge impact on the political situation in places like Britain. And Trump basically is giving cover to nationalists in Britain and Europe to be able to pursue much, much harder policies than they would be able to pursue, let's say, if Biden was there or Obama and so on. He's really pushing the whole global Overton window to the right. It's very, very impressive. And his speech at the UN today, despite all of the problems with the teleprompter, despite the escalator thing, actually, it was very refreshing. And quite a novel experience to see a US president talk for, I think, more than 50 minutes and saying these quite radical nationalist things at the UN, the globalist institution.
Yeah, well, it's just like Trump is signaling to the right in Europe, the United Kingdom is like, hey, we're taking the boot off your neck. Like, you can actually operate. And it's allowing everyone to actually bring these guys in and ask them questions about like mass migration. What was the benefit of that? I mean, like our mutual friend of the show, Connor Tomlinson, like he filmed an interview with Michael Gove. Where you just like, all you have to do is just bring these guys in front of a camera and just ask them some very basic questions on like the economics of mass migration. On like, have you had any thoughts on what this could do to the national like environment, the national culture, and these sorts of things? And they just crumble immediately. But it's because the United States, with this neoliberal establishment, just ran cover for them for all these years. And now that Trump's in, now that the boot's off the neck, these guys actually have to answer for what they've done.
It's incredible. You talk about Connor's interview with Gove.
Yeah.
This has been a bit of a speciality of mine, is interviewing conservative politicians from the right in Britain. This includes actually Nigel Farage, who I interviewed last year and asked him about mass deportations. He was against that, of illegal migrants. But this year he's completely flipped and has become far more radical on the issue supporting mass deportations. I also did an interview with former Prime Minister Liz Truss, again a conservative Prime Minister, who Connor really loves her. You know, she's kind of got different views now, but when she was Prime Minister, she was in favor of Indian mass migration. She was in favor of a lot of these kind of woke policies. She called herself an LGBTQ plus ally. This is the leader of the Conservative Party. Americans might be fooled by that word. It's completely like false advertising, false branding. You know, and I've done the same thing to other Reform and Conservative Party politicians, including in London last week, where I'm saying to them, you know, you let in all these migrants. Now you're saying that you're going to reverse that or do the opposite. Why should we believe you? You were elected 4 times in the last 14 years on a manifesto that said you're going to cut immigration, and you did the exact opposite. And it's so impressive, again, as I said, to see a nationalist president saying these things to Europe, saying, no, you need to stop this stuff. You're committing civilizational suicide. J.D. Vance went to Munich and said the same thing earlier this year, sorry. And again, it had a huge impact on the discourses, on the elites in Europe. I think there's a real kind of shift, a vibe shift against the mass migration. And Trump is also talking about energy. We have people don't know this in America, we have a vast amount of energy in the North Sea oil, that we're just not drilling because the government is refusing to let private companies drill the oil because of climate change. And we're hugely taxing it. And we have also a huge amount of fracking that we could do that we didn't do. Like, it's crazy. The American economy actually grew far, far quicker than the whole European economy in the last 20 years. If you look at the differences in GDP, and the main reason for that is because of your energy policies. You did frack to an extent, and that led an energy independence. Trump, when he was obviously a president in the first term, led to America being energy independent. And these kind of pro-growth policies are such a unique thing to America. Europe is committing suicide, and Trump has pointed it out.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.